Hi there, Gav here, and let me just apologise before we get going. Not for the amount of swearing, there's not actually too much in this one. There's a couple of words here and there bandied about by some banterous lads. But yeah, there's a bigger than usual gap between episodes, and for that I would like to apologise. That's down to me because I edit it, and we've had a busy week with the final of the Greatest Race. Also, we actually called Johnny on the phone, which is why it sounds a little bit less clear than it normally would. We've used all our stocks of Swarfiga up on trying to clean it up and make sure it's not the same listening experience as you had with Guy Martin. We also had recorded a separate audio from Neil Hodgson, but unfortunately his Wi-Fi is so bad that he's been unable to send me it, try as he might, for the last few days. Anyway, it's still less than a week since the last episode, so I hope you enjoy it. And if anyone's got any ideas how to send a massive large audio file without it being WeTransfer, Google Drive and all the usual ones that we've tried, then do let me know at Gavin Emmett on Twitter. Thanks. Hello, welcome back to Gas It Out. We're here again. My name's Gavin Emmett. On the other end, sounding a little bit angry this morning, is Neil Hodgson. How are you, Neil?
I'm good. Well, I've had better mornings.
Go on. No,
the problem is it's lockdown. Everyone's bored. There's serious shit going on in the world. Tetchy. And I woke up this morning and my phone wasn't charged. How can that how can that be a big thing in your life? But it is. When you look, you pick your phone up and you've 5% battery left. And you're like, what? Anyway, it's a long story. I don't want to bore you. Do you want to hear the story?
You will. It's a long story, but that's not stopped you before.
So I woke up this morning instantly grumpy because my phone hadn't charged over the night. So I plugged it in. Listen to this. No, it's serious. This is serious shit, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
So obviously Vic's asleep next to me and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, my phone ain't charged. Like it's the end of the world.
All of a sudden it's her fault.
Yeah. Do you plug it in properly? Obviously I've plugged it in properly. Like, do I look stupid? So I'm thinking, I've had this before where you get a bit of belly button fluff in it. You know, it just gets full of fluff.
Wait,
I get up, find
What do you mean belly button fluff?
Well, it's like belly button fluff, isn't it? It's like horrible. Right, okay.
It's the distant cousin.
I'm like,
it's the pocket dirt.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Belly button fluff, I call it. So anyway, I find a safety pin, go and have a sit down wee, and whilst I'm having a sit down wee, I'm like hooking it out, and it's like the most rewarding feeling.
Do it with the safety pin. Do it with a toothpick because they're wooden. You've got a chance of shorting it with the safety pin.
All right. Anyway, so I get all this fluff out, and it's like almost orgasmic because so much came out. I'm like, oh my God, look at all that! Like really chuffing myself. So I come back into my room, plug it in. Obviously, it's going to work. Doesn't charge. So I'm like, oh no! Now I'm stressed. So then I get back up. This is stressful because it's on like at 6:30. Walk around the other side of the bed, plug it into Vic's charger, which you think I was trying to rape her at this point because she's like really angry because it worked. I went, it works. And she's going, yeah, but that's my charger. And I went, yeah, no. I just want to make sure that my phone isn't broken. So now I know. So then I go back round and I'm thinking, maybe I've not plugged it in properly. It's not switched on. Anyway, I check all that. I checked everything. And I realised
it's not plugged in.
This is after I've gone back. No, it was. Everything was all right. And then I'd gone back downstairs to make a coffee to have a think about it. Then I came back upstairs, got into bed with a coffee, and I'm plugging it in. And then I just looked and realised that my drawer next to my bed was slightly open. And I've got a charger in there that's not plugged in. And I just ended up grabbing. I didn't realise there were two charger ends floating around by the side of my bed. No wonder it did. But the stress that caused, that 15 minutes of... And I was thinking, no, I've got to speak to Gav. I'm going to have no charge on my phone. That means I can't plug my phone in whilst I'm talking to him. Yeah, it's been a big morning. So.
Blooming heck. I mean, that's drama. That's drama right there, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? That's Neil's morning right there. Do you know what? I've had a bit of a rant for the morning.
Go on.
Well, do you know what? I've been really good on the self-isolation. I've not been out. I've not been to the shops for the first time. In fact, I went yesterday to the supermarket. It was amazing. It's like the best supermarket experience I've ever had in my life. Because we didn't have any
It's
stuff.
like
We'd
that,
run
isn't it?
out. I've not been for a month to a supermarket, so I didn't realise. So I queued outside for 5 minutes, got in, and there's no one in there. All the shelves are full of everything. It's like the best experience ever. And everyone's been polite and all that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but hang on, are you one of them knobs that then takes the time? Right, I've waited, and I'm now going to have a walk around and enjoy the experience.
Yeah, actually I am. But that's me on a normal occasion. The one thing I was discussing with Kate yesterday, I said the one thing I'm missing out of coronavirus more than anything is the whoopsie aisle. That's my little treat whenever I go to the supermarket, is finding the things with the yellow tag on. And they had some yesterday in the supermarket.
Yorkshire.
Obviously.
Bloody Yorkshire, man.
Anyway, my rant this morning was the bank. I thought banks were open, but I've had my roof got blown off here, and I've got to check off the insurance company. That's another thing, the way the W insurance. So what's the point of me even being paid out for it anyway? That's one thing. I've been buying home insurance this morning. It's done me head in. But I was trying to pay that check-in for the damaged roof. I've already paid out the money a couple of months ago after the storms, right? And I'm trying to go to the bank to pay this check-in. They're queuing 100 metres down the road. They're only open 2 days a week for 3 hours. I understand that, fine. But the fact was, I was in it for an hour and I had to come back. That's why I'm here now speaking to you, and I never got to pay the check-in. But I sort of think I'm a bit confused why they're only open for 3 hours, 2 days a week. Anyway, that's that's annoyed me this morning.
But banks are shit, right? I'll tell you, this really annoys me. So why does a bank? I'll tell you what we'll do, right? We are a service, right? Money's everything. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll close at 4:30. This is before coronavirus. I turned up at Lloyds Bank to pay a check-in because I'm well old, still dealing checks, and it's like whatever. It's 4:45. It's locked. All banks, and they don't open until about 9:30. What sort of service is that, though? Seriously, all joking apart.
But all joking apart,
they are crap.
You try living in Spain, Neil, where banks are only open in the morning.
Why?
Permanently. They don't open.
Well, you know why, don't you?
After lunch.
They'll be asleep, won't they? Spanish. They'll be full on siesta. That's them done, isn't it? Hang on, we've worked 4 hours. I'm knackered. I need to have what is it, the drink? Sangria. Give me a pint of sangria.
Oh, they all definitely drink sangria. That's the most common drink in Spain.
When can I have my tapas rant?
No, we're not having this tapas rant. I promised people that we would keep it off the airwaves. We're not having it today.
It does me head in.
I haven't got time.
The most overrated food known to man. I'll tell you what I'll have. I'll have a little bit of everything.
We're not having this tapas
cooked
rant.
about 5 hours ago, or maybe 10 hours ago, and it's been put. You walk into them cafes in Spain, and you can see through the like on the counter. You look, and you can see the food there, and there's flies landing on it, and the calamari looks disgusting. You can smell it, and then you say to me, "Oh, I love tapas. It's utter crap. It's the worst food ever."
I converted you last year in
Barcelona.
Spanish. Come on, admit it. I converted
that was
you
different.
a little bit.
Yeah, but that wasn't. Yeah, that was different. You took me to a proper posh restaurant, and that was all right.
Posh restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, it weren't bad.
Cerveceria Catalana. If anyone's in Barcelona, it's one of my favourite places.
Hang on a minute. Did you just go?
Well, you didn't watch the Marquez brothers yesterday that I did with them for the Repsol Instagram site. That was all in Spanish. A couple of people saying, they kept writing in going, "I don't understand," or in Spanish when I was doing the English bit. Speak Spanish.
What did they have to?
It's all the same.
What did they have to say, Gav? And is Marquez? Are we going to get Mark on the podcast or what?
That's
that's
the aim. Yeah, he enjoyed being on the Greatest Race, and he's pleased that his race. He said the last lap of Australia 2015, which is the one that's got through to the final of the Greatest Race. He said that was his best race lap ever.
Bloody hell! What a line.
Good line, isn't it?
Yeah. No, hang on a minute. It was just sandbagging. He weren't even trying in that race, Gav. He was just sat back, trying to block Valentino Rossi.
So we got
deal with it.
We got involved in a lot of online Twitter scraps, weren't they, going on between anti-Rossi and pro-Rossi? And it's just, there's no middle ground. Why can't there be a middle ground in all this world? Why are we all so divisive? Whether it's Brexit or Remain, whether it's isolate, don't isolate. Rossi, Marcus, there's no middle ground. There is, because the majority are all in the middle ground, and we just love it. But yeah, we got involved in a spat, didn't we? And we just laugh, because when you're on Twitter and you get roped into one of those. But I think what we should ask, Neil, is our listeners to get on to Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez, to get them on Gas It Out, bombard them. I think that's the logical thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds fair. Just harass them. That's how we're going to get guests. That's the future. We could go the professional way through their PR people and beg them, or we could just create a load of hassle for them. Yeah. I like that, Gav. Yeah. You've gone up in my estimations with that one. Let's bombard them. Make the life hell.
So we've had loads of lovely comments and do appreciate it. But this week, instead of those lovely comments, can you just fire tweets through to the Marquez brothers? And we'll get them on.
That'd be funny.
Hey, I tell you what, talking to social media, we mentioned Graham Jarvis last time. Have you seen Graham Jarvis's social distance or his actual home training in his shed? Quite literally,
that was brilliant. Oh, that went wrong, didn't it? That did go
If you haven't seen it, go and see Graham Jarvis's Twitter. You'll find it. And
he's so talented, isn't he? That kid.
Super talented. But he tries to ride on his shed and it doesn't go right. If you heard the last podcast with Dougie Lampkin, him explaining how he destroyed an ornate wall at Goodwood, it's a similar kind of outcome from that one. Hey, and by the way, Neil, you mentioned food before, right? Tapas. You can't really speak because you still haven't sent us a picture of the scallops dish.
Oh, yeah. What happened was I looked on my phone and then realised Vic took the picture.
Because it was Vic.
So, because obviously I'd made it.
Because Vic made it.
So what I'll do is... No, I bloody made it. What about What about that ramen I made?
I made some actually this week.
It
inspired me and I made it and it was good. And I reckon it was better than yours.
Ramen noodles.
I did it for a long time. It was slow cooked in the pressure cooker. It took a while and it was the most amazing broth. Anyway, right, let's talk about Johnny Ray. We better get on to Johnny Ray. We've got Jonathan Ray coming, 5-time World Superbike champion. He's broken records that have never been done in the sport in terms of winning consecutively, the amount of wins he's getting. He's turned things around, Neil. He had 5 years when he came in from British Superbike, or from World Supersport, I think it was at the time, but with Honda, where you just thought, there's bagfuls of talent. Is he ever going to reach the pinnacle? But he's shown at Kawasaki just what he's capable of, hasn't he?
Well, it's the GOAT, isn't he? I think the problem with Jonathan, and we'll talk to him about this, is because he's winning every year, he's won 5 years on the bounce now, so it's 5 times world champion, it's become slightly boring for spectators, because like always, you don't want the same guy winning week in, week out. And because of that, I don't think, and I've thought this for quite some time, he gets the credit he deserves.
Right, yeah.
He's the greatest world superbike rider ever. He's got 88 wins. The next is Foggy, and I think he's at about 50, 58, 59 or something. I mean, he's smashed all the records. It's not like he's just about become the best. He's destroyed everybody. And people say, oh, it's the bike, it's this, it's that. I know Johnny really well. I've spent a lot of time with him over the years. I go to all the World Superbikes now because I manage Alex Lowe's, so I see a lot. And he's the world champion, 5 times world champion, because he's the best rider. He's just incredible, honestly. Under pressure, I don't know a better rider. When it's difficult, tricky conditions, and there's a world title at stake, most people ride tight. I've talked about it before in the podcast. Choke a little bit. Johnny excels. Honestly, he is an incredible rider. He really is. And we'll appreciate him more when he retires. We'll look back on his era and you'll go, God, remember the dominance of Jonathan Ray.
Yeah, and he's a good bloke, nice bloke as well, and comes across well, I think, just in general. But it's hard, isn't it? Because as you mentioned, when you are being told that it's boring, you winning all the time, and it's hard, isn't it, to find that balance of well, I'm winning all the time, but what do you want me to do about it? It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
I know, but I've got to say, Johnny's so level-headed, never changed once. Like I say, I knew him when he was a nobody, and now I know he's like the greatest superbike rider ever. He hasn't changed one bit. Johnny won't care. I just know he won't. He'll be just like, look, he loves his job. He gets paid very well for it. He loves winning. He's addicted to winning. He don't care what people think of him. I know he doesn't. Well, we'll ask him, but he's just bothered about. He's a real family man. He's got 2 lovely kids, lovely wife, and just gets on with his life and keeps his head down. And you know what he's like. He's not flash, is he? He's not always trying to say the right thing or be at the right dues, functions, parties. He just keeps his head down and he's a winning machine.
Yeah, grafter. Right, let's speak to him.
Hello.
There we
Now
are.
then.
We can hear you better on that one. It's a bit more like a phone line, but we can hear you. It's not like when Guy did it, and it sounded like he'd been drinking Swarfiga.
Good on Swarfiga, eh?
We got a comment off Swarfiga. Swarfiga retweeted one of our podcast tweets, which is actually our highlight. We almost stopped the podcast there and then.
Yeah. We feel like we've made it because Swarfiga have acknowledged us. Growing up as a kid, Johnny, how often did you have your hands in Swarfiga?
Well, do you know what it was back then? It was, not to piss off your retweet from Swarfiga, but Fast Orange.
You're so young, you see. That's what I keep forgetting.
Because I remember my dad having tubs and tubs of that in the garage.
Yeah.
And he'd go out and settle with his bikes and my bikes, and then would get all crusty-handed with the hand wash.
Do they still do Fast Orange? I haven't seen that for ages.
No idea.
No.
They all go in
no
cycles,
idea.
don't they? Like Swarfiga. I remember anything that I did. If I needed to wash my hands, I need to use Swarfiga for this, definitely, without a doubt. Yeah. You've been doing is colouring in. Yeah, but I definitely need Swarfiga. Definitely need that to clean my hands.
Hey, Johnny, talking about getting freebies and stuff, did you listen to the Dougie Lampkin podcast?
I haven't, not yet.
Well, basically, his wife, Nicola, they're setting up a gin distillery at their house. And they're going to start making this gin called Cotton Gin. Now, I'm going to mention it on every podcast so I can get some free gin, but I know you know Doug as well, so you need to... So you like gin, don't you? You're a bit of a gin and tonic man.
Yeah, I don't mind a gin tonic, yeah.
So there you go. We've now got a supplier of gin. How good's that?
You know, so he's actually launched the name, has he?
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know how that's going to work, isn't it? Because you start thinking about having a few drinks and then you wake up with like that cotton mouth at the middle of the night, you know what I mean?
No.
Have I ruined it for you?
Oh, God. All them sales we're about to get, Doug, you've just got that image in everyone's head now, and that's it.
No, I tell you what, if he sends me a pallet of it, I'll plaster it all over my social media. It'd be like the best ever.
Best sponsor ever, though, eh? Gin.
Yeah.
Free gin. Doesn't get any better.
Can you imagine? Well, you were in SBK. I just got into SBK back in the day when Corona were involved with the All-Star team. And do you know, when I first joined Superbike back in 2008, there was a bit of a culture of like everyone stayed behind on a Sunday night, and it was incredible. And old Francis Batter would always have his hospitality doors open for everyone to come in and drink his Corona. And straight after the Corona deal had finished, he got another beer sponsor called, I think it was Biru, Biru. So yeah, he was obviously very keen on tapping up the alcohol marketing departments.
That was always good.
It's the future.
When Valentino Rossi had his Nastro Azzurro, the Peroni sponsor, every Friday, you knew 6:30, that's where you'd find Jerry Burgess, Alex Briggs, and the rest of the crew, Dickie Smart, a lot of them. They'd always be in the Nastro Azzurro tent where you'd have it on draft. And obviously, you'd always find us in there as well, myself and Nick Harris. But you'd always find the Aussies in there. It was like an appointment.
Yeah, good stuff.
I've just heard a dog barking. Is it my dog in the background, or is it Bruno?
Oh, it's not Bruno. I'm my house has got horrible reception, so I'm sandwiched in my bedroom with the doors shut now, trying to get the only little bit of service I get in the house. So Bruno's, don't know where he is, to be honest.
How is
he's
he anyway?
Getting old, bless him.
He's got his own Instagram account.
He's yeah, my little sister set that up, bless her. So I bit of not a brain fart. I really wanted a dog. I grew up with golden Labradors when I was a kid. So when I was living in Northern Ireland, I got Bruno about 2 years, like 18 months before I headed to the Isle of Man. So Mum offered to have him for a bit, and not for a bit. She managed to like foster him pretty much. So he's probably more Bruno, mum and sister's dog. And then when I came back to Northern Ireland, we have a decent sized place here, and it's pretty fair in the dog to give him a run. So he ended up coming back. Loves the kids. Although I tell you what, I'm not a runner, and I went running yesterday with him. Must have only ran about 4K to like a swimming hole at a river, and ran back. And my legs, I could barely walk down the stairs this morning. My legs are in tatters.
Hey, Gav's a runner. You've been doing a lot of running, haven't you, Gav?
I've been trying, but I had I managed an 8K on Sunday, but then I went out halfway through the other day and I pulled my Achilles or something. It's tight anyway. It's sore, a little bit sore, so I had to give it up. But when you've got this much weight bouncing around,
I'm surprised, Gav, because you do look like a natural runner to me. Me and Johnny have always said that about you. I'm Johnny. Just
Especially your thumbnail on the podcast with like the pint in your hand. You're definitely a runner. Watch out, Usain Bolt.
That's how you train. That's how you train anyway. Anyway, that's it is what it is. Obviously, you are back home like all of us, Johnny. Locked down, and you were mentioned before we were cut off to you before how you're missing riding, but you've been going around getting into trouble with the missus, going around on the little pit bike.
Yeah, well, I had this idea to just make a cool little video to do it, and she really wasn't that keen, to be honest, because we had a party at my house one night, and I've got one of my championship bikes in the hallway, and I forgot to disconnect the battery, and somebody started it, and it stunk the house out for like weeks with fumes. So she wasn't best. I was hard tasked to get past her, but I told her, you can be in it, and it'll be mint, And I didn't tell her I was sending it to Monster Energy for them to plaster it and make it pretty big. So she's a bit embarrassed now, but it was good fun. Good fun. It's whatever you can do, isn't it, to get you through this period? It's pretty tough. I can imagine it's a lot tougher for some than others, but just from a mental point of view, it's really, my life's always been 100 miles per hour. Just pretty much dragged from an airport to a track to back home to recharge for a few days and get going again. So it's new territory, and it's just survival mode, really. The toughest thing is having the two kids, because they just need constant stimulation. And I've got myself a home gym at home, so I can carry on exactly what I've been doing with my trainer, albeit at home. And I've got online and done a lot of cycling stuff, and I've put myself outside a little bit to do a bit of riding, but it's just having enough energy to keep up with them for the rest of the day without feeling like a bad parent. So God bless the school teachers in the world.
Yeah, they're the best fitness regime, aren't they, around? But, you obviously had the first round of the championship. I'm obviously, myself and Neil are focused on MotoGP mainly, but obviously Neil involvement in Superbikes, and you had that first round. I just wonder how that feels, having done a round that things have stopped.
Yeah, you kind of forget the round, to be honest, because I think when things start up again, it's almost like reset again. And wherever we start, or if we start, I really hope we do get some racing this season. It'll feel like round one, for example, because there'll be no reference. I had a great time. I felt, aside from, I crashed out of race one in strange circumstances, but big mistake. But, I felt great the whole week there. I felt like we really improved the bike from previous years where tyre wear was always a concern. So it just would have been nice to carry on that momentum into the next races. But hey ho, it is what it is, and kind of Yeah, we just had to suck it up, really. And I mean, they put a calendar out for July already at Donington, but yeah, God knows when it's going to be. But I can't wait to get back. You know, my team are awesome. You know, I miss them guys as much as riding the bike, because it's them times you really, when you got good people around you, it's them times you miss. You know, sitting down in hospitality at night with good people around, and a bit of jokes and laughs, and yeah, I sort of really miss that part of it as well as the riding.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It is strange for everyone involved, but when you've got that crew together, try to keep in touch, try to keep everything going. Everyone's ends up as well. You've got a lot of Spaniards, haven't you, in your team, and it's not been easy for them over there either at this time. Interesting you actually say, how do you feel that things had started then? Because I was going to say it was an up and down weekend in Australia. And the fact that you're saying you think the bike's improved worries me, or worries the rest of the field, I'm sure.
Well, you know, Phillip Island's always not a bogey track, because we've had some decent results there. But last year I got trounced by Alvaro by, I don't know, close to 20 between 15 and 20 seconds. So it's one of them where you can never draw a trend from Phillip Island, but it's always good. It's a good shakedown race. We worked hard in practice to be fast with old tires and stuff, and race one, I just felt, you know, get to the front, like I did, whole shot it, got to the front, and decided just to, you know, get to lap 22, where the race would start about halfway after looking at the tires. And, you know, Tom bought me in going into Lucky Heights, and I went in the gravel, which put me dead last on a bit. So I had a lot of fun coming through, and apart from, I tried to, you know, I was just in the zone of overtaking people. I tried to go around the outside of, I forget who it was, at the hay shed. And I was just on a part of the track that I'd never been, and it's pretty bumpy out wide there. And tucked the front, my mistake, a bit silly. But anyway, we won the Super Pole race. And then race two, I felt like I'd done everything to win it. And with a few to go, Alex put his head in the wind, but just didn't get stopped up for turn one. And I went pretty wide on the outside of him, and then created a bit of work. But happy for him a little bit. You know, you can never be so happy to get beat flat out, but I know that feeling coming to a new team and winning your first race. So great for the team to have a 1-2, and I felt we put all our ducks in line, but just didn't come off for us. So yeah, just like I say, shame to not carry on that momentum really, and it's got the championship off to a decent start. Everyone got excited about Superbike. Always helps us starting in
I definitely think people
February.
Are excited again. I definitely feel that this year. I don't know whether you'd agree, Neil, but I do feel like there's a bit of, and I'm not saying this is not a criticism of you, Johnny. We've actually just been talking about how, you know, you're out there winning, you're just doing your job. But some people would say that they were like, oh, it's boring. Johnny's winning all the time. They say it the same in MotoGP. Mark is winning all the time. And actually, if you look at the racing, it's not always the full story, as we well know of what happened last year in particular. But I think some of the magic came back, Neil. Do you agree?
Oh, it was a fantastic race. Hey, this is some service. I'm sat in my bed. Vic's just walked in with a coffee. That's some service in it. Oh, thanks, Vic. And it's, you know, you can look at a coffee and you know it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, no, absolutely. And Johnny, we said before we called you about people saying, oh, Superbikes is boring or whatever. And, you know, part of it's your fault because you've destroyed everybody. But like Gav says, you don't care. And bloody hell, I wouldn't care. That's a dream come true, isn't it? But I think what we've got now this season, now with Honda coming back as a full factory team, we've not seen that since 2002. Scott Redding coming in, obviously a popular English rider and on the pace, on a good bike. That's a full factory team. Alex joining you in the Kawasaki team and looking like he's got to grips with the bike straight away. The BMW sort of continuing to develop and getting there. I think on paper we've got potentially probably the best World Superbike season coming up we've had for a while. And unfortunately for you, Johnny, I guess, in a way, what's good for us is worse for you. But I also understand that you understand and you're happy to have battles, because that's when I see you at your strongest, Johnny, is when you're battling, because there's no one more aggressive on those first laps. I guess you are excited about that, aren't you?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean, I still feel really good. I still feel. I mean, it's to be fair in my position over the last years. I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but there's always at the start of the year, everybody's excited. Everybody sort of states their claim, and to be fair, if it does go right for any number of 3 or 4 riders, they could be the guide. You know what I mean? So it's just trying to detach the emotions from all that and see it as, each individual battle, do your best, and tally the points up in October, November, whenever it may be. So just try not to get emotionally involved with it. But it is good. There's a lot of good riders in Superbike, and there's a lot of good riders in every championship that never actually has the right material underneath them at the right time. And seems like in Superbike now, the mix of manufacturers, you can't really call number 1 and number 2 riders. It seems like a lot of people are actually spending that extra bit of budget, to have a strong backup, as opposed to, putting all your eggs in one basket and having a sort of, a rider in the second berth that's just making up numbers. All the manufacturers now, from Yamaha, Honda, Kawi, Ducati, they've all got decent riders on there, so it makes the top 10 pretty deep.
Definitely. What are your thoughts on? I've never asked you this, on Bautista moving to Honda, because for me it just seemed really strange. It seemed like he was motivated by money. We knew obviously the factory team were coming back, so you've got to give that a certain amount of respect. But he suited that Ducati. He obviously, the first half of the year was amazing on it. He then started to crash, but you would have assumed he would have stayed there and tried to consolidate, learned from his mistakes, and try and take it to you. What are your thoughts on it?
I've no idea. It was a bit of not a gift for me, but it was a bit of an unraveling, because a guy that seems seemingly like that he had no chink in his armor for them first 4 races. We were thinking, how are we going to ever get our handle on this? And then suddenly he didn't seem so invincible after Assen and through Imola in the mid part of the year. But I don't know. Obviously something's gone on behind the scenes, because it was a bit of a marriage in heaven. What he done moving from GP. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're coming to ride a completely different bike, different sensations and feelings, different tires, and he absolutely drilled us in the first races, like by miles. So I think there's something going on behind the scenes. Obviously, I think I've spoke to the caddy my management spoke to the caddy probably every year, so I know what a good packet Chaz is on. He takes the most of that budget, so I think probably Alvaro felt pretty undervalued getting the dregs of the rider budget, and obviously Honda came in with a big new proposal. And I think when you put an HRC stamp on something and they tell you they're serious, then you've got to sit up and think, well, do you know what? They'll get it right. Maybe not in 2020, but I think they're in it to try and win it. So I don't think it's such a bad decision.
You've had experience though, haven't you? And I know it's different times. This is a factory effort coming back in from Honda's point of view, but of Honda telling you something's going to be there. You were there for 5 years, and that was one of the things I always wanted to know from you was, loyalty. Your loyalty was shone through. People over in MotoGP were saying, "Oh, matter of time before Johnny comes over, they'll sort him out." So why so long for you when you were riding with the HRC on the side of the bike?
Well, I wasn't, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was completely undervalued what the 10K team did with Honda. They got a wheelbarrow full of cash to go and develop a bike, but we got no technical support. And that was tough to take, because I feel like the first years the bike was probably ready to do decent. I arrived and was top 5 my first season, and then 4th. I battled for the championship the year Biaggi and Haslam were going at it right to the last, until I got hurt at Imola. I was still in the hunt. But then them years that came after that, when I was probably ready to step up, the bike sort of never made any progress. And I say that, I always feel like I feel like Honda still gave me a good crack. I got the chance to go and replace Casey when he was hurt. I went to Suzuki Cars and always felt very valuable. But that was probably the problem. I was too valuable in Superbike, and there was no real clear rider that went from SBK to MotoGP and won straight away. So it's kind of, when they had everything over there, why take me as well? So I did feel a bit. There's always a part that'll eat at me that I never got a good chance. I mean, it came. I remember arguing over lunch and walking out on Livio Sippo when he was trying to convince me that these open class Hondas were going to be really good, good value for money, and with a soft tire you could do well. I told him to. I can't remember the quote, but I got up and walked out, and he was pleading with me to go and speak with the Aspar team before I left the paddock, and I spent 5 minutes with them as well, and then left and told my manager, I said, "Hey Chuck, we need this Kawi deal. Do not mess it up," because I came close the year before going there, and I mean, it just back then when the GP was in a bit of a mess with the CRT situation, and it was so hard to be competitive. How could you convince a rider that a bike that cost £1 million was going to be the same performance as one that cost £3 million? And all I wanted was, to go there and with the same equipment. I felt like I deserved it after all the years in Superbike, and but yeah, it didn't happen. So a bit peeved. But if I didn't get sort of pied by Honda, I wouldn't be a 5 times world champion with Kawasaki.
Well, sometimes it's sliding doors, isn't it, on these things, how things work out ultimately. But what? Because people are always asking us. There's two questions people are asking all the time about you, and Kawasaki, I suppose. One is, will Kawasaki ever go back into MotoGP? We always say, why would they? Why would they want to when they're dominating and winning everything with you? So has that conversation ever been had between yourself and Kawasaki? And what options have you had over the last few years for MotoGP? Have there been options? If you're talking to Ducati, I'm assuming that that there have been options as well in MotoGP for you.
Well, I doubt Kawi will go back to GP. I mean, that would be a dream. But I've never had the conversations, but I don't feel it, in my body. And options I've had, not many, to be honest, Gav. People, I hear the same things you'll hear, and I should do this, I should do that. But in an ideal world, I'd love to. I'd love to go and pick what I wanted and do it. But in the past, there's been not too many, nothing concrete for sure. I think the year Danny was talking about retirement, I think it was around the Le Mans weekend. Chuck was there trying to get on that Repsol bike. Maybe I was out of contract at Kawi, and would have been cool to go there. But it was this sort of back burner deal. I was sort of put on the back burner because I feel like the Renzo thing was happening at Honda. Yeah. And aside from that, Aprilia came to see me once, but that wasn't something I was really that interested in, to be honest. I'm not surprised. I really find a home at. I listened to your podcast with Scott, and I thought it was great how he talked about, just not feeling at home with Aprilia, and not feeling the love and whatnot. And it's a bit like in life. You think about even. I feel really happy at Kawi. It's like a really good marriage. If you think of Kawasaki as my wife, she's meant, everything. I love going out with her. Things are great, but you're at the beach, and there's this nice other thing that walks in front of you, and you think about it. It's that looks pretty nice, but I'm in love with my wife. Do you know what I mean? So I love everything about it. From the factory side of things, how I'm treated there. They really respect what I've done, and all the team as well. So why change anything? I think I'm 33 now, so probably if I was motivated, and I think Colin, I can't remember what age Colin was, Neil, when he made the step.
It was about 30, I think.
Yeah.
29, 30. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, realistic. I'm not going to go there and compete for a championship in GP, because you need to be schooled there, I feel, to do that. And so I find my niche, and I'm really happy with it, and that's where we're at, really.
And
and you
we don't
sleep
blame
well
you.
at night, Johnny.
Exactly,
Yeah,
we don't blame you for
exactly.
it.
You're not lying in bed rocking, going, "Oh bloody hell! If I just got a chance at MotoGP to prove to everybody how good I am." You know, the glass is so half full. Greatest superbike rider ever. 5 world championships so far.
Yeah, but not allowed
it's
on any
not,
more beach holidays though. Now, when Tash hears this.
No, yeah, I've never experienced what you're saying, Jonathan, at all. That's never happened to me at all, ever.
No, but it's it's a strange one. But yeah, I wouldn't. I'm such a good place that, and I think Superbike as well. I really enjoy the work and home life balance. We got 13 races a year. You're sort of well rewarded for it, and it's not that taxing. You're not as in the public eye as in MotoGP, where if you have a sniffle in the paddock, it's reported about. This guy's a bit sick or whatever. Or in Superbike, I think we've got a pretty easy reign of having that balance right, and I appreciate that. I appreciate coming home and getting on with normal life, and taking the kids to school and not being a massive, huge deal that that the MotoGP thing would bring.
I mean, it's quite a big deal when there's massive portraits of you in your hometown, though, which I've seen. Joey Williams.
No, I mean, I do have great support from home, especially from home. I think I should get a bit of commission off SBK. When pretty much a lot of Northern Ireland turn up to these races now, and it's I can be so proud when I go out and see how many people are travelling to see us. We're such a small place, but I think Joey Dunlop paved the way for people like me, and then Joey and Jeremy in the GP stage, and then we're a big sport. We're a small nation, but a huge sporting nation from golf and rugby, football, and motorbikes. It's very lucky.
And do you know what, as well? That I feel for Jonathan a little bit, because you do get the odd punter going, you see, Johnny, the expert punter, Johnny, he never had the balls to go to MotoGP. The reality is the opportunity wasn't there. That's fact. But that's like the same punter that comes up and goes, you're not a real racer because you don't race on the roads. And
you'll never believe this. I remember I almost had a guy with the throat one night outside Colours about 1:00 TT week. He came up to me with his chest out, pointing in my face, saying, "You're not a real racer." I was like, "What do you mean, mate?" He says, "You're not a real racer. You don't do the TT."
Yeah.
I was like, you just have to take a deep breath and think. It's. I mean, them guys don't give a shit about World Superbike. Never mind MotoGP. It's like just the TT. And
you feel like, but who are you? Who are you to talk down to me, though? You know what I mean? You don't go around talking down to people. But isn't it weird what people like? People do that to you, don't they?
Could have found yourself on the front page of the Isle of Man paper, though, if you'd have got involved, wouldn't you? Neil knows all about that.
Oh, yes.
How you doing? Go on, tell us that, Neil. Was there something about riding dirt bikes illegally or something?
Yeah, on the beach. Me and Doug were on the beach, and we ended up. I thought we got front page, but I've exaggerated the story. We got page 2. So yeah.
I thought I wasn't going to be front page, but I felt if there was paparazzi in the Isle of Man, I remember once in the early years, Tash was giving me hell coming back from town one night in the back of a taxi. I thought, fuck me, this is going to, people are just going to be Chinese whispering everywhere thinking my wife's a ball breaker, you know what I mean? But anyway, it kind of went unnoticed.
Hey, you couldn't even get front page of MCN when you won the championship in World Superbike.
Oh, that annoyed me. That annoyed me, Johnny, so much. That was so disrespectful.
I think 5 times this year, though.
Oh, yeah. Was it 4? Was it a year ago then?
Yeah,
then?
It was.
I can't.
Previous.
Wait, we got lucky at MCN for you, like you did, Neil, because you came up. I think Michael Guy was covering it, wasn't he?
Yeah, Michael was brilliant.
And with JT and stuff, and Michael was amazing. And he was MCN, and he had a passion for Superbike. But I mean, it is the biggest weekly motor. Do you know what I can't get right? Is I grew up in sport in motocross, and all I think about is racing and being competitive. I don't understand how bikes are actually there's a business in commuting. I don't see that about riding a bike to work. I just see riding a bike as racing. So I don't know how many pages MCN donate to a new model, and 6 pages on racing or 8 pages on racing. It was that kind of baffled me for a bit. And then, I've always in the last year's Superbike would get duped, even from MotoGP, but even BSB would trump Superbike when it comes to national coverage, and that's sometimes hard to take because we got so many good British riders from, Camille, Tom, Alex. There's so many, but I feel like all the best UK riders now are in the World Championship. Of course, there's the next wave of young ones will be coming through the British Championship and whatever. But I feel like I got such a good year when I went to Supersport and BSB. I was riding with all the same guys I'm racing with now in the World Championship. So, that class of 06-07 was mint.
How do you get on with? I want to know how you get on with the other Brits, because I know there've been a few spats, whether it's been with Eugene and Chaz. You had a couple of spats here and there, and Tom. Obviously, you were teammates, but there was always this friction. We know there's tons of Brits in World Superbike. So, what is it? How do you all get on? Do you all get on?
Yeah, well, you get on with other people like in normal life. You get on with some people better than others. There's always the rivalry between Tom and I was like an inter-team thing, and that was more of a case of managing not our egos, but our like development egos. It always seemed like Tom wanted the bike to be like this, and I wanted the bike to be like that. And to be fair, between Tom and I, there was more of a rivalry between the two crew chiefs. But I mean, Chaz he's probably been my biggest racing rival over the last, aside from Alvaro last year. Chaz has probably been my biggest racing rival. So that hasn't always been, when you're competing so tough with a guy week in, week out, it's not always the easiest. And then, some stuff that gets talked about in the media and blowing things out of proportion, it's always not easy. But I feel like probably Leon's one of the guys I get on with the most, because our careers had a very similar path from BSB to World Championship. He's a guy in a similar position with me, with a racing dad, a young family and stuff like that. So it's he's a guy that I have a lot of time for. And then young Toprak that came up sort of in the Kawasaki family. Now he's at Yamaha. I always I had a soft spot for him, because he was pretty raw talent, and in super stock trim he really flattered the bike. He was doing things on it that was incredible. So when he jumped to Superbike, and I always go around to his team, Pachetti team, they've got a really good chef, so I eat in there quite a lot, and so I always helped him out in the first years of Superbike. So I'm kind of regretting that now, because he's the real deal.
I've got to say though, we're so different, Jonathan. I couldn't have helped him. I'd have had to been teaching him all bad things. I'd have been turning into the corners early. I just couldn't, because you took him under your wing, didn't you? You really did help him.
Yeah, I kind of. We were at to the point it got. I forget his first test, maybe on a Superbike. We were at Portimao, and he goes pretty decent there anyway on the Stalker, and he was on the Superbike and winter test, and we were. I forget how we were I think it was the Showa guys. We were communicating through the Showa guys when I would exit pits and when we would put a new tyre in. And I was sat in the garage thinking, right, I'd be all right. I'll put my head down and he'll be thereabouts, but I'll be faster than him at the end of the lap. So he puts new fresh tyres in sort of 3:00 in the afternoon before we, put a full stop on the day. And he headed out at pit lane behind me. And I thought, right, I'll give him 3 corners. If I can still hear his engine, at turn 5 going around that tower, it would be a disaster. And he was right there, and he clung on to me, and I think I dragged him to like a 41 point whatever, like a super fast time at the time, and he got second in his sort of rookie test. And I was like, no way. He's like, and Perry told me right then and there, you got to stop doing this. But I can't help it. I rate myself that if I do my best, if I'm towing someone around, if I do my best, that's my best. Doesn't matter if someone's behind me. Really, they're going to do what they can do. But yeah.
There's some talent in it.
I do reckon. I do feel like I'm not done with World Championships, but I feel like he'll be the next one.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting. Scott said that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny. So you're 33 years old now. You're coming to the end of a contract with Kawasaki at the end of this year. Obviously, I know you're in talks with Kawasaki. That's the obvious. How many more years do you think you've got in you? What would you say? Because every time I remember talking to you, obviously we talk a lot. Going back, like when you was like 28, you were going, just 2 more seasons, Neil, and I'm definitely done. And I'd laugh with you. I'd go, listen, wait till you get into that second season and you won't feel like that. And you're like, no, I will definitely. I'm like, you won't, mate. I promise you won't. And so that's why I'm intrigued to know what you're feeling right now. Then.
Yeah, 2 more seasons.
2 more seasons, and then I'm done.
And then in 2 more years, we'll have to revisit that. But yeah, of course, I'm talking about the future. And do you know the hardest years were when the kids were born, because we were dragging them around the world. And now they're up a bit, and they're actually cool little humans to hang around with when you take them to a race as well. And I think life being easier at home makes it easier to go away, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think as long as I don't want to, because now I feel like I'm at the top. You know, I'm peaking in my career, but the only way is sort of down. I've got that fear of, you know, climbing to the top of the tree and then hitting every branch on the way down, and nobody putting their arm around you and telling you, hey, dude, it's time to stop. Maybe we should. We'll revisit the Isle of Man regularly, Neil, and we can take me out and you can say, right, dude, now's the time. Remember that conversation we had? We've got it on record here.
Yeah.
Make sure and come and tell me that, because yeah, I don't want to just keep riding around for the paycheck. Do you know what I mean? And be unmotivated. But
you won't do that, Jonathan. Think about this. How many times did I come round to your apartment, sit there, me, you, and Tosh, before you got kids, even talking about, right, so I'm gonna stay with Honda for another year because, right, no, listen, Neil, right, they're definitely going to improve the bike. Now, Kawasaki have offered me a deal. Now, and I was going, now I'm not trying to...
Oh, yeah, I told you all about this, didn't I?
How many times, though? We must have this conversation at your house at least 5 times, and I kept saying, go green, just go green. You're like, no, but Honda, they've promised me, and this, and I'm like, you've paid your dues at Honda. Kawasaki's the way forward, mate. You've got to go there. And you're like, no, I'm not too sure. So basically, I've worked out percentage what you owe me now. And we'll have a conversation after this, but it's quite a lot.
Will a shandy do? I know you're a bit of a shandy drinker.
I'm easily bought. I'll take a shandy.
That'll finish him off.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, and what about your kids? Because obviously you're the son of a racer. So is there any encouragement about them, or any disencouragement about them ever wanting to ride and race?
Do you know what, mate? They're just into football at the minute.
That's good.
And they're actually pretty decent at riding as well. Jake's got a little Husky 50, which
brilliant.
They're evil little things when you get them wound up. And Tyler, he's 4. He's got a PW 50. So yeah, they're just into football.
No, that's the future.
Yeah. I got a deal with Jake that if he signs for Barcelona, the deal is he has to buy me and Tarsh an apartment in Barcelona. They're down on the sea. I'll have that.
I think that sounds cool. Fair swap to me.
But you know what's really good about Jake? Now he's 6, but we can actually play. We've been playing FIFA on the PlayStation quite a bit, and I have to try my best to even have a 0-0 game now with him. It's so much fun putting the time in at the minute, and yeah, he fancies himself as the next Messi.
Oh, that's cool.
That's brilliant.
Let's hope that happens. Hey, Johnny, I want to go back. I want to go back to the first time I heard your name proper mentioned, and that was when you got pole position. Was it 2005? In
BSB,
British,
yeah,
BSB on that like satellite Honda. How old was you then? About 17, 18?
2005. I was just 18. Yeah.
Just 18.
Do you know? I think it might still be the youngest ever pole position. Maybe.
Well, it will be, won't it? Nobody else will have had the pole position in British Superbikes at that age. But what was funny, have I ever told you the story? I was racing in America at the time, and I remember being in America, checking the qualifying results of BSB, and I remember thinking, oh my God, how shit is BSB now? Even this young Irish kid that no one's heard of has smoked everybody in qualifying. The level must be so low. Now, when you think of the riders I was talking about, then there was like, obviously, probably Camia, Cal, Sykes, Eugene,
Rutter,
you know, like,
Pio, Lavia, Haslam, yeah.
Yeah, like, it was like stacked with talent, but because I'd never heard of you, I was like, this kid can't be that good, you know, like, that must have been amazing for you, though.
No, it was, but that year was a horrible year that year, because I was coming off the back of a broken leg from Supersport, and don't know why, but you know, Tuxworth and the sponsors had agreed to put me up to Superbike. And back then, there was a lot of investment from HRC in the British Championship to develop Michelin tyres for Suzuki 8 Hours, and so there was a factory team, and then they made this thing like a homemade Fireblade, and it was like a light switch. It had so much power, but so hard to control. And I'm so lucky that I had somebody else paying crash damage for me when I was starting out, because I crashed my brains out that year. And then got a bit more sensible in 2006, but it was surreal because that Red Bull Honda team was part of the official Honda, like the HM plant team back then. So you were teammates with like the best guys in the paddock. So these guys like Rutter and Chianari and Carl Harris, they became like, they were household names back in BSB days, and they sort of just became people to me now, not really idols. And you hung out with them, you had dinner with them, and then you sort of you fed off them, got loads of experience. So I got fast tracked there, and I got involved with Chris Pike back then. He was an engineer at Honda that he worked with, you know, Colin when he was doing his sort of Castrol Honda years. So I had great people around, and that really helped.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. It was stunning. Anyway, that was the first time I'd heard your name mentioned. It made me laugh.
Do you know I think the next time we met, right? Do you remember being at an awards night? Maybe a dinner?
Yeah, in Ireland.
And we ended up with your brother, me, you, your brother, and Callum Ramsey.
Yeah, bloody hell.
And we had told this group of people that we were from a boy band, and you were drinking shandies and tipping them into a plant pot.
What the?
What? That sounds about right. Now that tells me that was a true story.
Hang on,
yeah,
Vic's shouting me. I think I need to go. Sorry.
You know what? But because honestly, back then you were not to blow smoke up your hole, but you were a bit of an idol. I think Men and Motors had covered. That could have been the 03 season. It would have been
right,
because I just made it into road racing. Old Men and Motors had covered your season. I forget I bet you've still got the DVD and you play it a lot. What is it?
It's on now.
Hodgson's Way or something, or?
I'm trying to pretend I don't know what it's called. Pretend you don't know what it's called. But
it's called the highlights.
It was called back on
the highlights of the highlights.
No, it was everything. It was the highlights of the season. It was behind the scenes. And do you know what? I seen his house in this DVD back then. I thought, oh, do you know what? I want a piece of that. And you had a fancy car, didn't you, sitting in your drive?
Yeah, Porsche. Yeah.
And I thought, oh, check this dude. And then we're out drinking together. Obviously, I'm underage because it was only 2003. But we're out at that hotel, and I thought, that's that guy off Men and Motors. I was like, oh, legend. So yeah, funny. Good times.
What a disappointment! And he's drinking shandies, and he's pouring them away. What an absolute lightweight!
Yeah, I was flat broke. I would have had it, to be fair.
Yeah, I remember because you were like, this will sound harsh what I'm going to say, but you were like chubby, weren't you? You'd like a chubby little round face.
Yeah,
which is weird.
That was, I'm actually less kilos now than I was when I rode a 125 in that first year. God love my little 125.
Amazing.
That's superb.
Now Neil's at a stage where he's drinking pints and driving a Ford Fiesta. So it only gets better from this point on.
No, but he's doing well. I remember when the Isle of Man, we'd catch up for coffees a lot and would hang out, and he would always go to the gym, but it wasn't like conditioning training. It was always like beach body training.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Vanity weights.
So, but you know, I think no, you're doing well, mate. You're doing really well, because I hope when all's said and done with my race, and I've still got motivation to look after myself and whatnot, because it's a strange feeling when that's what I was thinking about. What happens after you stop racing? You know, there's that mental block. What do you actually do? I remember talking to you quite a lot about it.
Lockdown's a bit like it.
Yeah, well, I've been doing great till I still feel like I'm doing great. We try and have a bit of a routine. I do homeschool with the kids Tuesday and Thursday. Tars does the rest of the week, and then you just have a routine. But I think we're all telling ourselves life's going to be back to normal pretty soon. But then when I retire, that might be my new normal. Might just be trimming hedges and cutting grass. You know what I mean?
Not allowed
for the rest of your life.
Imagine. I'll come and join you boys. You look like you've got it pretty easy at BT Sport there.
100%.
It's not easy for me. I've got to work with Neil Hodgson.
Right.
No, it looks like a lot of fun. A lot of travelling though, so it's I bet it's not as glamorous as it seems on TV, but there's a lot of tedious stuff you have to do.
Yeah, there is, but 90% of it we love, don't we, Gav? Really, it's like everything. You know what I mean? Everything, every job has.
Yeah, I'm just trying to build you up here to attack your pay rise.
Oh, yeah. Like the sound of that. What? Do you hang on, Gav? Do you get paid? Do you
No,
get, what?
No, are you?
What? Oh no, we do it for the love, Johnny. We do it for the love. We do it for the love.
Passion. Neil.
Right, I think it's time. I know. Do you agree?
Yeah, I can feel it. I just felt it in the shandy.
It's time for the big. Johnny, you know what's coming.
What?
It's the big questions.
It's going to need the jingle soon.
Hang on. Yeah, I want a jingle. In fact, I'm not doing this again, Gavin, till you sort of jingle out. So it's my big questions. This is where the people at home that are listening, they really get to know the true Jonathan Rea. Not the man that's seen on TV, not the 5-time world champion, but the true working class lad.
Go on, then.
Right, first question. So you've been out, you've had a few pints of Guinness, right? Now, I don't know if you drink Guinness. Do you drink Guinness?
Not really. Not really a beer drinker, but go on then.
Right,
yeah,
anyway.
I'll have a Guinness. Right,
so you've had a bit of Guinness. You know, you've had too much lager, bitter, or Guinness, and you're at that point in the night. You're about 5 pints in, and you think, I'm pretty leathered, but I need something. I'm getting a bit tired with this. I need something. I need something to build me up. I need like a bit of a pick me up drink. What's your pick me up drink like? What do you go for?
Oof.
Are you go for shots? Are you going to get a gin and tonic?
No. Do you know what? I'm just consistent. To be fair, I don't drink a lot, but if I do go out, I don't tend to. I just stick to. I'll probably have a few. See, I'm opposite to you, don't I? You can't go out and have a drink on a full stomach.
Yeah, your memory is good.
Yeah,
not at all.
You see, I go out for a feed, have a few glasses of wine, and then if I'm going out to a bar later, I'll have a few nice sort of posh gin and tonics and a nice glass, and I'll call it a night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm a bit tired than that, I'll have an espresso martini.
Oh, there you go. That's the answer. That's one.
Yeah.
The problem is with them though is when you've had your 5 pints, you have your first espresso martini, you think, actually that's on the trick. But then you have 3 or 4 more. One. Yeah, and then just all goes wrong, doesn't it?
And then you buzz in, and then you don't sleep.
Yeah, and it's a mess, isn't it? Right. So so espresso martini was your answer, right? When you're racing, you're on a diet, or you're being healthy. What's your treat? You know, like, do you know what? I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to have a McDonald's, or I'm going to drink. Or what's your treat?
Chocolate.
Right.
What chocolate?
Which one? Can we get a sponsor, Gav? Which one?
Loads. Do you know, I've been polishing. I'm still polishing off the kids' Easter eggs from Easter.
Right.
I can't help myself. Hey, can I tell you a funny story about diet? Right. I've thought that us racers are like head fragile or anything, but the only thing I could get my hands on going to Phillip Island the year I started with Cali was a McDonald's on a Wednesday. There's one on the Bass Highway going to the track. I was desperate. I had a McDonald's and I won the race. And the same happened in Thailand. It was the only thing I could trust going to the track was a McDonald's. I did the double there, so I'd convinced myself that I needed to have a McDonald's every single Wednesday of the season. So the hardest one to find a McDonald's was in Sepang, because when you land at that Kuala Lumpur, you turn sort of right and go to the hotel. Well, you stay in the hotel or you go right to the circuit. Well, on Wednesday, me and Kev took like the shuttle into Kuala Lumpur just to find a McDonald's.
Brilliant.
I mean, that's a good. I love that as a routine. That's fun. That sounds like out of my book.
Gav, can we get to that routine?
Yeah.
Big Mac, chips, and 6 McNuggets. There you go.
Oh, he's gone for the chaser, the nugget chaser.
Oh, good luck.
I like that.
What about milkshake?
Oh, I've never had a milkshake from there.
What? Yeah, oh my God, Johnny, you don't know what you're missing. Oh.
Maybe a Smarties McFlurry if it's like above 20 degrees.
Yeah, fair point. Right, next question. You fancy yourself as a bit of a motocrosser. Obviously, I know you were a schoolboy British motocross champion. I've ridden with you. Obviously, you're not quite as quick as me. But who out of all the road race guys, I'm joking, by the way, obviously, you're amazing. Who out of the road race guys is the fastest motocross rider that you've been with? Or can you smoke them all?
It depends what track we're on, doesn't it? I rode with Mark. Mark's pretty fast. He rides motocross like he does MotoGP. And we rode at his, we've rode together most off seasons, and his track in Spain, a track called Ponce, he's pretty fast around there. We're pretty similar. But fastest, do you know who the fastest is? Is the American kid, Jake Gagne.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think he scored points at an AMA National.
I'd heard that he'd done an AMA National. Yeah,
so I reckon he's the fastest, no question.
Yeah, definitely. He sounds like he's the man. Right, who would win in an arm wrestle between you and Marc Marquez? The champions against each other. I can see it. This could be a TV program, Gav.
Do you know, I fancy myself against Mark in an arm wrestle.
Yeah. I'd have gone with you.
Yeah, I reckon.
Right, so we've had the warm-up questions. Obviously, if you've listened to the podcast, you know the last question is the main question, really. It's the main part of the whole podcast, really. So,
I forget this one.
Jonathan, who is your favourite motorcycle racer that ran a 3-digit number?
It's Ben Bostrom. It was always Ben Bostrom.
Yeah.
Oh, them sideburns.
It looked good as well. He looked good. The bike looked good.
You, Neil.
Oh.
Hang on, Gav. Don't interrupt him. Yeah. Hang on.
Go on.
I'll be quiet. Just say that again clearly, just so we can get it, so it's recorded. Who was that, Jonathan?
No, it was Neil Hudson. But you got to tell me because of your DVD. You obviously know the name of your DVD. What was it called again?
I can't remember. I've got a bloody brain fart. I don't know.
Because you know, like how videos have gone now and editing and stuff. I bet if you look back on it now, the sort of production would have been crap. Like it was probably well shot and a great story back then. But then if you look back now, that the way camera people have gone and production crews, it would have been really out of date. So it'd be cool to search it and watch it again, actually.
Yeah. Well, when I watched it 2 days ago, it didn't look bad. It didn't, honestly. It looked all right. So, what's it called
then?
Hang on, what's it called? The book? No, that book I did was Back on Track.
Was it not Hodgson's Way?
No.
And you must. When people think about your career, there must have been like a landmark. And I think one of the landmarks was when you won the championship and you undid your leather suit and you had Holly Jean t-shirt on.
Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it? That was amazing.
That was super cool. Would you still have done that if you hadn't have won?
What do you mean?
Well, you won the championship, didn't you, with that race?
Yes, but I didn't win the race.
Won the no, I know that got you, doesn't it?
Oh God.
You had the counts on me in 2015 when I didn't.
Oh yeah, we've had the conversation. I forgot about that. Yeah, we both did, exactly. Yeah. That's bizarre, isn't it? That you win the World Championship, it's everything you've ever dreamed of, but you didn't win the race, and you nearly did, and you screwed up. So you cross the line, and you go, I know I'm world champion, but I'm really, really pissed off right now. And then you have to celebrate, even though you're acting.
So like me, I bet you had everything planned, didn't you? How you were going to celebrate.
Yeah.
You had a dream of your championship party, who was going to be there.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I had that all planned, and it happened, and fucking none of it happened. It was a disaster.
Because tell us about what happened. It was in Jerez, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Jerez. That was my worst result of the season. I was fourth. It was horrible.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't even get on the podium. Can you imagine being a world champion in the first race of the year, and you've gone into Parc Ferme and you don't even deserve to be there?
Oh God! And everyone's there with the t-shirts on, and you're going.
And get this right. I'm there as world champion, doing my world championship picture on the podium after all the real podium guys had left, and the super stock race is going off in the background, and I'm like, can you imagine?
No!
Oh God! It's not how you imagine it, is it, Johnny? That's the reality. It's like I thought it was going to feel better than this. This is not what I thought.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
So hang on, I found it. The DVD. But what's its number one bestseller? It's called Ride to Win. Neil Hodgson, Ride to Win.
Oh, that went through the marketing department, didn't it? Blooming heck.
Ride to Win, good lad.
Great title.
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolute classic, stone cold classic, right there. Wow. Only available on VHS, so don't try and order it, anyone, unless you have one of those. It doesn't do streaming.
Right.
So here's one for you. What's your take on when we're going to get back racing?
I'm Mr. Negative. I'm like, I just can't see it. Unfortunately, because it's World Championships. I think there'll be some BSB races near the end of the season. But I just can't see everybody being in line for there to be the World Championships to actually happen. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. God, I hope I'm wrong. What do you think, Gav?
Well, I think we've always gone a bit opposite on this. I think towards middle end of August they'll be behind closed doors, and that's how it'll be. But yeah, whether even that'll happen is a big if, isn't it? What about yourself, Johnny? What are you reckoning? What have you heard on the grapevine?
No idea, to be honest. You're probably more informed than me, but I guess from a mental point of view, just trying to keep sane. I'm just trying to target getting ready for that race in July, which I think don't believe is going to happen, but which is a real shame, But yeah, tough times. I think racing's it's not a priority anymore, is it? It's about people getting. I mean, it's close to home with me. My little sister, she got dragged out of university to go and work in her nurse. She her graduation was this year, and so she started work early. So but it's strange. And then I'm just trying not to read into all the conspiracy stories that's going around and stuff. It's just doing the right thing and trying to get through this, and we'll come out the other side stronger, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you say that though. I'm the same, not trying to read into all these bloody conspiracy theories, and you're just like, let's just get over this. What my favourite, well, not my favourite, but the best bit is you look at some of the Americans are there with their guns going, this is bullshit, man. Like, what you doing with the gun, first of all? Who are you going to shoot?
Well, the ones that got me most were the ones that were out demonstrating, but in full protective equipment. I'm like, well, do you think it's a problem or not? It was really bad.
Or not? Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? But you only have to watch Tiger King to understand where some of these Americans are coming from. And what I'm like. I love America, but there's some loon balls there, aren't there? My God, unreal. Unreal.
Let's hope there's no Americans listening.
No. Well, I'm not generalising, but there are some absolute loonies over there, isn't there?
Actually, yeah, quite a few, Neil. So thanks for destroying a lot of our audience. But that's fine. We can bounce back from this. Johnny, we better let you go because it's your homeschooling day, and I'm worried about the boys. I'm worried they're not going to get their.
No, they're off. I've done They did 2 hours, but I'm done now. So. Yeah, you guys have a cracking day and keep up the good work.
You keep up the practice on FIFA. and give Jake
All
a
right.
good match, won't you? Yeah. Right, good to speak to you, Johnny. Appreciate you getting sorted for Signal and all that, and hopefully speak to you soon and see you at a racetrack soon.
All right, take care. Bye.
Top man, great to catch up.
He sounds like a man just at ease with everything. Not easy for anyone at all. We all know we're all in the same boat of being locked down, but wanting to get back. You had that taste of the season and to get started, but very level-headed as he showed with his reaction to it. Oh, look, there's more important things in the world, and that's just him, isn't it?
He's always like I said, he's always been the same. He's not changed, over the years. Like I said, I've known him for a long time and spent a lot of time with him back on the Isle of Man back in the day. And like you say, why wouldn't he be in a good place? Forget about the coronavirus for a second. Just in general, in life, bloody hell, he's got a lovely wife. Him and Tosh have been together forever. They get on really well. 2 great kids, absolute crackers. He's 5 times world champion. He's probably achieved more than he ever thought he would do, really. Let's be honest. But what the interesting part, and I knew what he'd say. It's still there in it. The desire to win. He's far from done, Gav. Far from done.
I'm glad
there's more world champ.
I'm glad as well. Yeah, you're right. More world championships to come, but I'm glad that he answered as well about the MotoGP thing. Because how many times have we asked it? Working as we do in MotoGP, that's one of the questions we get asked more than any. Why aren't Kawasaki coming, and why isn't Johnny there?
Yeah, it sort of bores us the question because we've heard it so many times. But the reality is, he'd give you the truth. That is the truth. He wasn't prepared to ride an absolute turd and risk, it destroying his career. And the argument could be then, but other riders have done that. Not really.
As Julian Ryder once said, tests have shown.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? Tests have shown. Cal Crutchlow went there. Well, he didn't ride a turd. He weren't on an old CRT fart bike, was it? It was in Tech 3. Ben Spies joined Tech 3, and obviously they were successful. If Johnny was offered the Tech 3 ride back in the day, he would have taken it. I'm sure he would have, So yeah, it's not his fault that he is where he is, if that makes sense.
And you can't blame him for making the most of it as he has either. And a long way to continue for him. All credit to him for the hard graft, the hard yakka he's put in over the years. We will be back with some other big guests very soon indeed. But thanks again to Johnny Ray. Thank you at home for listening. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep telling your mates about it if you've enjoyed it. And we'll speak to you again very soon. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, Neil. And I will speak to you over it.
Same to you, Gavin. And don't forget, I love you, man. I love you.
All right, we'll see you later, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Hello there. Yeah. So this microphone, right?
It took a while to answer. Then did it ring? Not ring for long?
Yeah. No, it rang. But I'm well confused because I'm sat here with my iPad open.
Right.
I've got my headphones into my phone.
Right.
I've got my microphone into my iPad.
Yeah.
When I press the reporter. Let me just go back one second.
Yeah, but is it unplug the microphone and plug it back in?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it doesn't recognise it. Yeah, but also plug it back into the iPad because it sort of needs you to plug it back in to recognise that it's there.
Just doing the fancy blow. Right.
What did you just do? You blew on it.
Yeah, well, obviously, I've tried it. It's not working, so I don't know what to do. So I've blown on it. All right. And now it's going to work. Oh, my God, last night, right? So I woke up this morning instantly grumpy because my phone hadn't charged over the night. So I plugged it in. Listen to this. No, it's serious. This is serious shit, isn't it?
Right. Adding Jonathan to the call. It never tells me when they pick up, actually.
Yeah, it's always a bit weird, that, isn't it?
Oh, Jonathan Ray joined, I think. Hello, hello.
All right.
Now then. Can you hear us
Now
okay,
then.
Johnny? How you doing? You all right?
Well, I seen a video call coming, but I'm not ready to video. Are we videoing or what?
No. I'm not.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Was video. We do naked video calls. You know we do, Johnny. You always like that.
Oh,
Don't
man.
try and pretend.
Johnny, you know the fact is that the only reason Neil would want to do it would be tops off. That's what, and obviously I'm not going to do that because I look like a melted candle.
Tell me this. How lucky have we been though with tops off in this weather? Unreal.
I know.
I haven't my top off, but that's from years of living in the Isle of Man when it's actually 15 degrees. You think it's the middle of summer, so actually getting some decent weather. It's
Hey,
it's
Johnny.
been unreal.
How many times have we been on the Isle of Man and it's colder than 15 degrees and you're going down the prom or driving down the prom and you'll see someone with a top off and you're like, mate, it's 13 degrees.
it's brilliant. But I tell you what, I've been back now in Belfast about a year and a half or so, and flip me whack, you just don't miss the wind. You can't believe how windy the Isle of Man was.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful place, but yeah, we've been definitely blessed during this lockdown with some decent weather here in the UK. Hey,
yeah, it's made a difference, hasn't it?
Yeah, completely. We were talking the other day about imagine if it had been normal, it had just been grey and chucking it down. How are you dealing with it all anyway? No. We've been discussing. Neil's a bit tetchy this morning. I've had a little bit of a rant. How are you faring?
Pretty decent, to be honest. We're recording now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's we just go straight into it, Johnny. There's nothing organised though.
No, not that I was going to stand back because to be fair, I've been listening to all this. To be fair, so good job, guys. I moved back here and we've got a pretty decent side place, so I've been doing loads of gardening. So I've got my phone, and listening to you two waffle on. It's been great. Getting loads of work done in the garden. That was sort of week 1 and 2. And then sort of boredom hasn't crept in because in a motorbiker's career, you'd never get time off at all. There's always you think even being injured is time away from the track. That's up and down to doctors or physiotherapy, hyperbaric chambers or whatever. So it's actually been really decent downtime, but in the same breath, I'm itching to ride my bike.
We saw from the video that you put up, was it yesterday on social media? How's your signal? Are you hearing okay, Neil, or have you got breakup?
There's breakup with Johnny, not with you.
Yeah. How's your signal?
Right. It's not great. I can go off my Wi-Fi and try 3G if that'll work.
It might be.
Give that a go.
Give that a go because it's dropping out. We sort of catch it. It's gone again. Norman Collier's our favourite thing on this podcast because it's just every other word.
We can edit this as well, by the way, Johnny. So don't worry. You know what I mean? Just whilst we get it sorted.
When he says that, he means Gav can edit it.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Gav can edit it.
Joking.
Gav does all the work. Can you hear us, Johnny?
I think that's negatory on that.
It started off good, didn't it?
And it started off fine, and then it just sort of went speckly.
Yeah. If we can't, is there another way we can speak to Jonathan? Can he do it on a phone call?
Yeah, I'll do it on a phone call, like we did with with Guy. But
yeah, there'll be yeah.
But hopefully there'll be a better signal. Whereas Guy, there was just no signal, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Johnny Ray left. Right. Jonathan left. Let me have another go.